Hey everyone, welcome back to Deep Developer channel. So today we are tackling one of the most important video topics, IBM Java interview questions for 3 to 8 years of experience people. So IBM is known for going deep on core Java internals, Spring Boot, microservices, multithreading and modern Java features. Today I have put together the top 20 questions based on real IBM interview experience. So here how the video works. I will show you the questions on the screen. I will give you the answers, and for the coding sections you can download the source code from GitHub. So once you download, you will get the source code like this format, where you will be having all the questions tagged with questions 1, questions 2, questions 3, and all those corresponding codes you will be getting here. So you can refer this. So let's get started with the video. So before going ahead with the video, request you to subscribe Deep Developer YouTube channel, where I make videos on Java, Spring Boot, microservices, REST API and company wise interview questions. So let's get started with the video. Questions 1. How does HashMap work internally and what happened on hash collision? So basically this is the first questions that IBM usually asks to every Java candidate. They don't just want to hear it store key values pair. Actually they want to know the internals like bucket, hashing, collisions handling, and the little bit on the Java improvement part. So you can basically start with HashMap store entries in an arrays of bucket. The bucket indices is computed based on n-1 and of the key. So on collisions, like entries are chained as a linked list in that bucket. So in Java 8, when a bucket exists 8 entries, the list converted to red black trees, which forms like order of log n complexity. You can mention like default capacity is 16 and load factor is 75%. Like map will resize when it increase the load factors. So if you want the complete ready-made answer script for all those 20 IBM Java questions, so where I have written out exactly what to say to the interviewers word by word, you can just drop a comment on the comment sections. I will share the full doc. Next, move to the second questions. Why string is immutable in Java and what is string pool? So string immutability is a fundamental Java design decisions that has security, performance and thread safety implications. IBM asks this to test whether you understand why it was designed this way, not just what does it means. So you can explain like string is immutable for security. Class loaders and the connections uses strings and cannot be tampered with. So for thread safety and for caching purpose. Next, move to the third questions. Explain deadlock in Java and how do you prevent it, and write a deadlock examples. So IBM asks these deadlock questions for 5+ years of experience, and they want you to both explain it theoretically and write down the codes. Make sure you cover 4 Kaufman conditions and at least 2 prevention strategies. You can explain the answer like deadlock happens when thread 1 holds, for example, lock A and wait for lock B, while thread 2 holds the lock B and wait for lock A. In this case, the circular wait conditions will happen. So first fix is that always acquires lock in the same global order across all the threads. This will break the circular wait. And the second fix is that use reference tie lock with a timeout. 4. Explain Java 8 stream API and difference between map and flatMap. So Java 8 stream are tested heavily at IBM. They often give you a code snippet and ask for the output. Always cover lazy evolution, intermediate versus terminal operations. and the key difference between map and flatMap. So you can start the answer like stream provides a functional pipeline over collections with lazy evolution. So .map method is for one-to-one transformations where 10 element will be as taking as an input, for example, and the 10 element will be converted to output. And the .flat method is for one-to-many mapping. So it transform each element into a stream and flatten all the stream into one. Which company's Java interviews are you preparing for right now? You can drop the company's name on the comment so I can cover that on my next video. I have already covered few of the company's interview questions. You can check the channel for those videos. Next, move to fifth questions. How does Spring Boot auto configuration works internally? So IBM tests the Spring Boot not just as an users level but at the internal level as well. They want to know what happens under the hood, like when your Spring Boot application start. Don't just say it's magic, explain the files reading conditional evolutions. Like you can start like the Spring Boot application annotations includes embedded auto configuration annotations which reads like auto configuration dot imports files at the startup, and each class listed here is an configuration class that is granted with conditional annotations, and we have like conditional on class annotations which create a bin only if the class is in the class path, and we have annotation called conditional on missing bin annotations. It creates a bin if the user had not defined any. This is how you override by default. Next, move to the next questions. What are Spring Bean scope? Explain singleton versus prototype with an example. Bean scope is a classic trap questions. So they ask about singleton thread safety. Most candidates say like singleton isn't thread safe, which is wrong, but ready to point out the mutual state problem there also. The singleton by default will be created and creates one shared instance per application context, and we have prototype. Prototype creates a new instance every time the bean is requested. If you are still watching the video, I request you please like the video and subscribe to the channel to get more interview related videos. Let's move to our seventh questions. So what is N+1 problem in Hibernate and how do you fix it? So N+1 is the most common preferred bugs in Hibernate applications, and the interviewer want to test this for all mid to senior level candidates. N+1 happens when loading n parent records which fires in additional queries for each child collections. First fix is that you need to use join fetch in your JPQL query. On this one query will load everything. The second fix is that you can use @entity graph on the repository method. And the third fix is that you can use @batch size on the collections, which will reduce n+1 queries to n divided by batch size plus 1. Next question is what is circuit breaker patterns? Implement it with Resilience 4J in Spring Boot. Circuit breaker prevents cascading failures. So in closed state, flow normally. When the failure state exceeds a threshold, it turns into open state. Like all calls immediately return to a fallback without hitting the downstream services. So after an wait period, it enters to half open state and test within few requests. In the Spring Boot, annotate with @circuit breaker. Move to the next questions. How to implement JWT-based authentication in the Spring Boot? So JWT has the three parts, which is header, payload, and signature. All are base64 URL encoded. So on login, the server validates credentials, signs a JWT with a secret key, and return it. Then the client sends it to every request as authorization barrier tokens, and a JWT filters, extending once per request filter, extract the tokens and validate the signatures and expiry. Then set the authentication in the Spring's security context holder. Let's move to the next questions. Explain completable futures in Java 8 and how it is better than futures. Future.get method blocks the calling thread until the result is ready, which is wasteful for us. And a completable futures is a non-blocking and support the callback chain. We have then apply a method that transform the result. We have then combine method that combine the two independent futures. We have method called exceptionally that provides an callback when any stage throws an exception. We have all of method which waits for all the future to complete. Next question, how concurrent HashMap differs from HashMap and the Hashtable. So HashMap is fast but not in thread shape. Hashtable synchronize every methods on the whole map and it is very slow. And the concurrent HashMap in Java 8 uses cache operations at the bucket level. Let's move to the next questions. Implement thread shape singleton object or the singleton class and explain all the three approach. So singleton is one of the most universal asked design pattern questions at IBM. So they specifically asked about double check locking, volatile and enum singleton. Know all these three and you can explain the enum as your recommendations. So approach is that synchronize get instance. It is simple but acquire lock at every call. Second approach is that double check locking with volatile, which is faster. And the third approach is that enum singleton with the best practice and JVM guarantees only one instance will be generated. Next question is that how does Java 8 optional work and when should you use it? So optional is an container that forces explicit non-handling. So we have method of nullable that wraps every values safely. To call maps and filters that enables fluent null shape chaining without nested null check. We have method called or else that always evaluates its argument. We have method called or else get which is lazy and let's move to the more advanced concept. What is virtual threads which we call as project Loom and how do they differs from platform threads. So platform threads basically wraps like OS threads. For example, if each use 1 to 2 MB of stack and you can have only few thousands. Threads are JVM managed and it's just a few KB of each and you can create millions. When the virtual thread block on IO, the JVM parks it and free the carrier thread for the other work. So you can create them with thread dot or virtual dot start method, or you can use executors service executors dot new virtual thread per task executor method. To enable it globally in the Spring Boot, you can use spring.threads.virtual.enabled equal to true. Next, move to the next questions. Explain functional interface in the Java and write a custom one. So functional interface has exactly one abstract method. We can use functional interface annotations, make the compiler enforce the rules. We have built-in functional interface like predicates that basically test our conditions. We have functions that transform that take one type of argument and return the another type of argument. We have consumer which accept a type of argument and it is not returning anything. We have supplier which returns any type with no input. Next question is what are shelled class in the Java 17? Gives some real world example. So shelled class restrict which classes can extend them using permit clause. It is one of the most advanced topic that are introduced in Java 17 version. like each permitted subclass must be final, sealed or non-sealed. Next question is that how do you integrate Apache Kafka with Spring Boot and explain producer and the consumer? Kafka messages go to topics divided into partitions, and the consumer groups allows the parallel processing. In the Spring Boot, you auto add the Kafka templates and all sends with topic keys and messages for the producers. For the consumer, annotate a method with Kafka listener providing topics and group ID. How do you implement global exception handling in the Spring Boot? IBM asks this almost every Spring Boot interview, so we can use @controller and annotations advice the expected answers, and you should also cover the validation error handling. A class annotate with @rest controller advice insights that write a method annotated with exception handling or the exception handler pointing to specific exception topics. Next, move to the next questions, which is mostly on the architecture level questions. Explain JVM garbage collections and what is G1GC and when do you use ZGC. So G1GC is the default since Java 9. It divides heap into region, collect largest garbage first, and ZGC offer an sub milliseconds pause regardless of the heap size. Use it for the lazy critical services. So you can get more details on that. What is Saga patterns in the microservices? The difference between choreography and orchestration. In microservices, each service has its own database. So that's a wrap up with our top 20 IBM Java interview questions for 3 to 8 years of experience candidate. So we covered core Java internal, HashMap, string, immutability, deadlock, stream, optionals. From the Spring Boot and Hibernate side, we have learned like auto configurations, bin scope, N+1 problem, and from the microservices side, we have learned circuit breaker pattern, Karpa integration, Saga patterns. We have learned virtual threads. So if this video helped you, please drop a like and hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching the video, and all the best for your interview.